Hello and welcome back to the Ratchet and Clank comic. Now on to the final issue number 6, with a cover that is cool enough, but I don't think it's warrant, issue number 6 cover. Honestly, it would have been so fucking cool if they homaged the Crisis on Infinite Earths cover with Ratchet using the La Pietà pose, with Talwyn's body and everything. That would have been
And like,
hilarious.
shoot, why not? Again, as the logo in the top left shows, this is a DC comic book, essentially.
Instead, we have Zogg's giant face, while what I guess Beldin is in his grasp to symbolize his direct, triumph and everything. I will also take this moment to mention something quickly. I know it's a minor nitpick technically, but am I the only one who thinks that this comic series should have needed a subtitle? Just calling it Ratchet and Clank, makes you believe it might be an actually accidental adaptation of the first game. It should have been called something like, say, Ratchet and Clank: The Helios Project or something like that. I don't know.
Like, God forbid if there was another Ratchet and comic book line, then we'd probably have to
Like,
call it by
if you want to have the title be a innuendo or double entendre, call it What the Zogg. That would have been hilarious.
Almost any of the titles used for each of the comics could have worked, essentially, but
maybe Lost in Space could have actually. This particular final issue's title I can mention right now is called Bros Before Foes, which this is a tongue-in-cheek. I don't remember if it was around this time, but definitely close, where God of War Ascension was released, and as I mentioned in another part, one of the trophies had to be changed into this because the original connotation was the original way of saying bros before hoes, and it was deemed too tasteless for when it was actually, properly pasted in the game. So there was that. Next page, we see the Space Rangers, along with Kronk and Sasha, to actually land on Veldin to see if they can find Ratchet. Gone.
Alpha 1-7. What's the status of that verbal signature?
Holding steady at Cat 4, but we're too far away from a bioscan. Could just be another horny toad or some citizen seeking shelter.
Everyone's been rounded up into work camps. This has to be him.
Ma'am, our jail reserves are critically low. Another 7 minutes and we'll be past the point of no return.
One pass, then we can go home.
I'm with you, Miss Pharynix. Fuel or no, I'm with you to the end.
Thanks, Kronk. Coming into range now. Initiating bioscan.
One Lombax life form confirmed. It's him, ma'am.
Yes! Notify the Polaris Defense Force. Tell them to pull back to the Apogee Station. Kronk and I will pick up Ratchet and Clank.
It's all working out.
I'm starting to wonder if this particular face in the bottom panel of Sasha was partially traced from a reference photograph. It feels more human than the other faces. I'm not accusing Adam to be like Greg Land or something. I'm just wondering if he had a reference for this. Anyway, Sasha and Kronk find quickly Ratchet and Clank TM while they're warming up.
Ratchet! Ratchet? He has not spoken since it happened.
I like how this panel implies
Zogg's ship was destroyed.
And Miss Talwyn was...
That's terrible.
I like how this implies that the Agroyan warrior, I guess, just left and decided to wander out aimlessly in the cold winter wonderland.
Either that or picked up a ship on his own and just tucked tail. Remember, he mentioned that he was basically hired by Sasha and the two warbots, so...
I guess I would have figured he would have at least stayed with them since he knew Sasha was coming, but, oh well. I should have called her. After Veldin, I should have... She knew how much I cared about her, rookie! We all did! When I told her I was leaving Polaris, she said she understood, but then when she went back into her room, I heard her. I heard her crying, and I still left. What kind of person does that?
There isn't a single citizen in this universe who doesn't know what you've been through these past few years. If anyone understood why you needed to get away, it was Toll. She wasn't crying because you were leaving her. She was crying because she knew you were right to go.
Again, like I said, Talwyn has actual clearly abandonment issues, unfortunately, so...
I will give it credit for Ratchet and Clank standards. Relationship development issues taken this seriously are, well, quite an interesting thing, but it really does make things a bit weird since... Okay, like, what did Ratchet actually tell Talwyn? Talwyn, I know we're in love, but I have to go find myself on a journey. And, like, it's
He
not like...
just wanted to return to have time to think, quote-unquote, back on his own planet, literally.
And
It's literally, I must go, my planet needs me.
Which begs the question, what was stopping her from just visiting or occasionally popping in? It's not like he went to some unexplored
She's part of
corner
the
of
Polaris
galaxy.
Defense Force, remember?
True, yeah, but surely, like, a visit every once in a while, or hell, a video call or something. Like, this implies that, you know, they were separated beyond some bond that would never let them see each other. Like, again, with them going into how she was crying and sobbing, that kind of feels like someone who believes they're never going to see their love again, essentially. I could have asked her to come with me.
She would have said no. You and Clank needed to get away from the pressure the universe put on you. She wanted you to be happy again. She knew you'd come back when you were ready.
That's charming.
I'm sorry, but the temperature is dropping. We need to get going now.
Come on, Ratchet. We can still save Veldin.
Miss Talwyn would want us to. I'm ready.
As Ratchet finds is resolved as we move on, which, to be fair, you know, it's working out like that. Although, again, I want to quote, to take into context a bit the first panel. Again, this serves to give extra connotations to Ratchet's desire of retiring after the death of Azimuth. He feels like the whole saving the galaxy has put a strain on him. Again, that's not what the ending of A Crack in Time was hinting at, though. It was feel way more like, oh, yeah, we can go back on having adventures of our own then, but immediately after instead we jump into, this state. It feels like there should have been something more in between to explain that. It will be presented more out of context in All for One, mind you, we will have to see. So this is doing a bit of a better job, but I argue it's still not quite there just yet. Anyway.
So, back on Apogee Space Station.
Alright, team. Everything's onto the ship. Double time. Remember, leave with your bags. Mr. President, they returned. We picked up an explosion in deep space a couple hours ago. What happened? Is everyone alright? Where's Miss Talwyn? I heard she was taken prisoner. Is she okay?
Zeph, pal, what do you say we take a walk?
We'll take care of Zephyr. The best thing we can do now is to help load the teleportation equipment onto Quark's ship.
We still haven't been able to locate the other stolen planet without their coordinates. They'll be lost forever.
One problem at a time, Quark. Let's save Veldin.
I guess we're entering Silent Hill then.
Something tripped the perimeter holo sensors. It's headed right for us.
All units to defensive positions.
Everyone formally be shielded around me. Your sacrifice will ensure your president endures to preserve democracy. Thank you, Quark, as usual.
It's going to hit the terrarium. Impact in 30 seconds.
Engage the energy shields. It won't stop the impact, but it'll maintain air pressure. All Rangers, take up defensive positions in the terrarium. Polaris troops 2, double time. Quark, help Clank get that shot to the ship and get out of here.
Impact in 3, 2, 1, smash.
Although I also do wonder if this particular Terracnoid at the console is actually Pollux, because he will be backing into the Nexus, because he forgot he was the guy that was helping Nefarious in A Crack in Time, but after that game, the series treats him as he's a good guy now, so I do wonder if this serves to bridge also that.
Perhaps the idea is like,
Everyone
I guess Nefarious was forcing him.
And out of it comes the Warmonger first. Okay, it's not oomph, but it's close to that.
Born? Don't fire! He has her!
Who has who?
It's...
Tal, you're...
You may want to hang onto that last word. It may prove to be a bit... premature.
This is over, Artemis. We have the shard. We've replicated your equipment. Don't make this any worse for yourself.
Nothing is over. You haven't defeated me. You only set me back. Triumph is merely a matter of time and will. Let me shoot him, rookie. You can't shoot me. You have no idea where my galaxy is. I'd sooner dive and hand it to you.
I can tell them. I have all the coordinates memorized.
You. I liked you much better when you were spineless.
Shoot him, Ratchet! Just shoot him!
Do you know what I was going to do with welding before turning into a snow cone? I was going to make it my galaxy's private junkyard. That's the only real purpose one can assign a planet as useless as yours.
Drop the Tesla coil. This is your last chance.
Thank you, Ratchet, for reminding me the name of the weapon. All I need is that shard and equipment you built, and my kingdom will be restored. And if you won't give it to me, I'll just have to take it. Attack! So, here's a surprise to you. An entire page where Zogg had a surprise. A whole pack of Mr. Zircons. Mr. Zircon, kill Beasley, Space Rat. Mr. Zircon cares only to kill. Mr. Zircon hates Galactic Rangers. Mr. Zircon thinks Polaris defense troops are stupid. Stupid aliens. Mr. Zircon will kill you. Hello, stupid aliens.
Zircons! Gotta give Zogg credit, he has a buttload of backup plans in case things go
Not to
pear-shaped.
mention, as it will be showcased in other panels, now this recontextualizes a bit, first of all, it's a weapon that is being used against you, which is, always interesting, but also, you get a reminder, if you haven't realized already, that the whole banter that Zircon is having, that's a psychological mechanism designed to be against what you're fighting, and now it's used directly against Ratchet and the others. That's actually kind of a cool idea, so I have to give TJ Fixman for that. Also, gotta love the warmonger actually literally biting his hands in the corner for that. Jesus.
Goodness gracious.
So in the scaffolding, Ratchet tries to use Asimov's staff to try to also free Tal while fighting the Zircons.
Tal! Ugh!
That's not a oomph, but once again adding to the count, why not?
No.
And once again, another pose where Ratchet looks oddly serene for a guy who's in the middle of a battle.
He's
Seriously.
just reaching the moment, I guess.
Again, it feels like I pressed pause on a game cutscene at just the right moment to have one of those awkward in-between bouts, essentially. Like, again, I get it in a movie or video game, but dudes, you're in control of the comic. Why are you drawing these sort of frames?
Why do you hang
Anyway.
on to Mr. Zircon, furball? Mr. Zircon hates all warbots. Mr. Zircon enjoys killing stinking Galactic Rangers. And
And
now...
Talwyn, once again, makes like a rat and bites.
He's getting away.
The shard is mine, Ratchet. Stay out of my way. Also, the poor Galactic Rangers are getting killed by a bunch of Mr. Zircon, which I would remind, they're not particularly powerful, they really are for a supporting role, so what the hell happened to the Galactic Rangers in the meantime?
I wonder if being out of practice and usage for so long made them soft.
Oh well.
How many of these things does he have?
GrumbleNet was selling them in bulk, so 100. I think this is just the first wave. Capitalism works both ways as usual.
We can't risk Zogg getting close to that shard. You two just get Vaughn to the ship.
How do we do that? The aqueduct. It leads to one of the gallery teleporters.
We'll hold them off. Go!
I'm not a very good swimmer!
And the next set of pages are classic situation where the characters try to reach the exit, it's blocked, they almost drown, cue the sonic music, but they are rescued just in the nick of time by, of course, the plumber, because of course. You three are be more careful. This aqueduct ain't for swimming, you know. While the poor fuckers are dying.
Yeah. That's really good advice. Do I even want to ask what he's doing here? Maybe later. Right now, we have to get to Quark's ship.
Actually, no, because that's the plumber's literally the cameo. He's getting his paycheck after this panel. Alright, next page. It's Quark and Clank continuing to build the device. Their reserves are 98%, ready for departure in 30 seconds.
You did not refuel before you came to the station?
I did, but when I stopped by the Ison's Lurp and Big Al's, and about a half dozen other places on opposite sides of the galaxy for no real reason whatsoever.
If the series ever ends with all the characters dying, I just know it's going to be Quark's fault somehow.
Obviously.
Quark, stand down! Repeat, stand down! Do not leave the station!
What's going on?
Ratchet and Tall are on their way to you with someone who can help find the other planets.
Ratchet and
Miss
Tal just
Talwyn is
doesn't have the
alive?
same.
Yes, but she's got company. Zogg's here too, and he wants the shard back. He's armed and headed your way right now.
Artemis Zogg is here? In the station? We have to go. I'm too young and attracted to be assassinated.
You must get control of yourself. If we leave now, we may lose our only chance to save the other stolen planets.
So, we'll get you planets. Better ones. I'll even let you name them.
Perhaps there is a way to keep you out of harm's way and save the stolen planets.
I'm listening. And of course the solution is duct tape. Not cool, Clank. Da-da-da-da-da-da. How did Clank manage to overpower Quark to, do that? Oh well.
Maybe he turned giant.
Yeah, maybe that he did off screen. Next page, we see back the other characters trying to escape. Yoo-hoo, where are you, stupid lumberjacks?
Hide!
Why do you run? Mr. Zircon only wishes to kill you. And unfortunately, because of all the water...
Achoo! We should run.
Like I said, they criticized the art a lot. They managed to make Mr. Zircon actually terrifying in a panel, so there you go, I guess.
Like enough for one single Zircon to actually be something of a challenge. And by challenge, I mean last a page, cause kablam! Go! Keep moving!
Die, stupid lumberjacks. Silly Marquesian, Zircon will only kill you now. Your glasses are stupid.
Zogg's heading for the teleporter!
And another
Ratchet
pose,
gives chase.
and another Ratchet pose where he has his eyes closed.
Swing! Kablam!
You can't stop me, Ratchet. I will return to my galaxy. My empire will continue to grow.
Yeah, the thing about monologuing, it gives the hero a time to body check you, which Ratchet proceeds to do. In the back, too. Nah!
Yeah, that's not another oomph, but, let's add to the count.
The fight of the yellow texts!
Ratchet?
All while Quark is having his head tilted too much. Zogg manages to kick-flip Ratchet into the screen somehow, and still grabs the weapon. Stop! I never wanted such chaos. Why do you have to make things so difficult? Can't you see? I'm trying to only restore order. And this is all you're doing, Your ego has been more destructive than every crap my old despot this universe has ever seen. I'm sorry, Artemis. Truly, I don't know what I was thinking. You weren't thinking. You never think. You just float around in a cloud of ignorance, as if the planets of Polaris revolve around you. I made a mistake. Please don't punish the rest of the universe for it.
He's right, sir. I'm not a president any more than I'm a chief warmonger. It's time for us to go home.
That's what I'm trying to do.
No, I mean home. Our real home. In Polaris. Those planets do not belong to us. You were once so worried about your legacy. Is this how you want to be remembered?
I did what I thought was right. For the good of the people.
You were selfish, sir. We both were. It wasn't about the good of the people. It was about proving them wrong. But you can stop this. Put down that Tesla coil. Let's turn ourselves in. We'll face the music together.
I can't. I'm sorry, Ratchet. I truly am one of your greatest fans. But I cannot let any of you remain alive to stop me from completing my galaxy. This,
Yep, he's too far gone.
however, one of the blueprints gives Quark a flashback, and also Asimov's staff to an extent, to when he was talking to Zogg in one of the previous issues. The comic actually gives us a reminder in the next page about that, just, in case you were not getting. And to be fair, this was distributed on a very, distance kind of time, so this is the case where it's
Monthly, yeah.
warranted. Applying negatively charged energy to the shard will create a bridge between realities. We tested this with a few ground floors, but we were unable to achieve the same level of success as the Lombaxes. Things got sticky. And it gives Quark an idea. Excuse me, Mr. Artemis, before you killed us, I've been dying to ask Vorn a scientific question. Do you mind? All the while the panel keeps getting close to Zogg's face. What I... Hey, you're on the Galactic Panel of Interstellar Know-It-Alls. Do you happen to know if this Praetorian Omnibranch uses negative charge energy?
Well, yes, I believe they do. Why do you ask? Oh.
And Quark uses his very bounded legs to throw the Asimov staff. Hurt the shard!
Which Ratchet proceeds to do.
No! Of course, the big no. No, it's not oomph, but once again, getting closer. The next page is, of course, the result is a warp, wormhole that is sucking in everything.
Everybody hang on!
Well, for Quark it's not that big of a problem, I guess. No, I won't be cast aside. My galaxy needs me.
How much longer? The energy should abate in a few seconds.
Also, Vaughn's face without glasses. Wow, it's... Till the end I get, things that will haunt my nightmares. Help me, Vaughn, you miserable, useless, worthless nothing. Go!
And how fittingly enough, it's a picture of Quark that finally knocks him in.
Quark! And because it's not Nefarious, he doesn't glitch out when he says that. Boop.
Yeah.
Wow, duct tape is awesome!
It can fix anything.
Meridian
So
City,
the day is saved.
2 weeks later. Today is a Blue Ribbon Day in my presidency. All the planets have returned. President Pyronics has been reunited with his daughter, off-screen. And best of all, check out this headline.
Hero President defeats crazed planet thief with arms tied behind back.
Nice, huh? Can't buy that kind of publicity. My approval rating has gone up a whole point. Also, that scribbling on the newspaper. It's like...
Alien language.
So what's next for you two? Now that Belding's safe, are you going to go back and retire?
Retire? Yes. But I think it's time we came back to the Polaris Galaxy. We kind of miss it around here.
Plus, Miss Talwyn needs assistance rebuilding her space station.
That's great! So you're sticking around. You two wanna hang out for a bit? I can fire up the old VG9000 game system.
No can do. We promised Sasha we'd stop in to say goodbye to her and her dad. Besides, shouldn't you be out looking for Dr. Nefarious?
Ratchet, the genius of a good leader lies in surrounding himself with people smarter than him. At least that's what my administration tells me every morning when I wake up. One thing I was wondering about, where do you suppose Artemis went?
With a centillion number of dimensions in reality, there is no way to know for sure. But I do not think you have to worry about him returning.
I just hope they don't hold elections where he's going.
Also, that line that Ratchet said about looking for Dr. Nefarious, that's basically the hookup for the beginning of All for One, so this literally bridges the gap on that front. And as for the epilogue, we see actually what happened to Zogg in Dimension A266. He gets a final oomph. Let's have a final one onto the count, onto an asteroid where a familiar force stands in.
This is my planet, Fragment. Find your own.
Percival Tachyon, I thought they smelled the stink of failure. I am President Artemis Zogg, and I hereby claim this entire fragment for myself.
Is that so? Well, I'm Emperor Percival Tachyon, vanquisher of the Lombaxes, conqueror of space and time, and this happens to be my planet fragment. I am the Emperor!
President!
Emperor!
President!
Emperor!
President!
Emperor!
And it's labeled here the end, for now, or forever, because
Rose before foes.
I remember that was the title of this issue, because no more comics were made. I have to admit, another attempt should be made, potentially, to question, but to be fair, these days not many people read, tie-in comics adapting for something else outside of, big popular ones like Halo and Gears, who have been doing that forever, so... Alright,
So, yes.
that concludes our 6-issue miniseries, so... thoughts? Lives?
It was alright, I guess. I mean, it didn't get off to the strongest of starts. But as the issues went on, the art did get better and the story got more compelling. Again, aside from when the camera kept zooming into the baddie's face, it's like he's magnetically attracted to the camera. No one's out of character. Although, is this the last time we're going to see Talwyn?
No, she shows up. She is mentioned in All for One. She was supposed to be actually playable in Full Frontal Assault Rescue Force according to data mining, but she was cut away, and she has a proper story rolling into the Nexus. Rift Apart also shows her in the credits, so hopefully, whatever game Insomniac manages to make for this franchise, which will be the next, hopefully sees her returning fully.
Basically, Dwebs, the gist is they definitely made a big deal about how Talwyn was now Ratchet's love interest and how they truly cared for each other in the comic, only to have the games not reflect that to the best of their abilities. And it's not like, oh, Talwyn would, not be able to join in on the fight, because we know she can fight. She was with us for the entirety of Quest for
considering
Booty.
she was cut away from Full Frontal Assault Rescue Force, I am suspecting she was supposed to play a part in the plot, but that was excised away.
Yeah, I did enjoy it for the most part, Rocky Start aside.
Alright, Java.
It's actually not a bad comic. I'm not sure if I'd call it the super best, essentially. I do get the feeling that they did the relatively clever thing of introducing a plot that can easily take place in between games, and we can maybe go, wasn't that crazy that happened? Like, it's a big enough plot with stakes that, yes, manages to technically outweigh the cosmos of time in a manner, but they frame it in a way that, again, I guess is made to help the fans of just the game feel like they didn't miss out on too much. Honestly, I'd say that this seems like something that could be easily adapted into a game. Mind you, I'm a guy who can check out other bouts of media, essentially, so I'm good with it. The only reason I think some people might be missing out is because in this day and age, while yes, this is available digitally, if you're trying to get it physically, I don't know how easy that will be, essentially. Granted, Amazon might make that easier to do, so who knows, essentially. That said, for what it was at the time, a tie-in comic to the hot series Ratchet and Clank, yeah, it works well. You can tell for starters that they have the writer from the games, TJ Fixman, in. Although he does show that I guess he focuses more on the future stuff, because as we pointed out, he had some weird continuity snafus regarding the original 3, but I digress. As for the art, probably the most contentious thing about this, I don't think it's terrible. Yes, it's very rocky at the start and definitely has some of the most common sins of relatively awkward art in comic. Again, a lot of the action scenes really choose to do the weirdest of the in-between frame stuff. Not like, oh, cool poses all the time, but the weirdest faces, or just, oh, this is like I took a picture of a guy mid-frame while his eyes were closed.
It's weird because that was the trend of the mid-2000s, with stuff like the comic book version of Civil War or the Ultimate Universe of Marvel side.
Weird. And yes, I do love the fact that I can technically say from DC Comics, essentially, since, yeah, midway it transforms from Wildstorm to DC Comics, which, yes, I guess can mean that Flashpoint is technically canon to the Ratchet and Clank
Although
universe.
they just missed the wave, I guess, because the events are still resolved normally as it was were going on.
Perhaps they were far enough in the galaxy that they weren't affected by it.
Unless you want to tell me that since the split happened between issue 4 and 5, in one reality Talwyn was killed on board a Zogg ship, while in the other she was captured.
Don't you
Sure.
see? This is how Lawrence was able to survive to rescue Nefarious, essentially. It's thanks to the Flashpoint change. Goody. But yeah, no, the plot's nice. It's actually nice how we do get to see both Sasha and Talwyn meet each other, essentially. And I do like how this comic avoids a lot of the annoying cliches of, oh, Ratchet and Talwyn fell out of love, and they're constantly bickering up until the end when they get back together. Like,
They're actually treated as characters instead of, the common be like, bitches be shopping.
Yeah, and you know what? Credit where it's due, this comic is actually kind of mature in regards to Ratchet and Talwyn's relationship. Like, again, given this is Ratchet and Clank, typically they either go relatively quiet or larger than life with the love interest, but no, I'd say Talwyn is handled well here. I'm someone who kind of preferred Sasha, but I do like at least that this seems to suggest that while she and Ratchet were a thing, they broke things off amicably, and she's understanding and comforting to him when he thinks that he's responsible for Talwyn's death. Zogg is an interesting new thread, essentially. He's someone who has a relatively sympathetic backstory, but the story does not chicken out and say, oh, it was completely Quark's fault. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of what Zogg did
it wasn't Quark's
his
fault, it was his manager's.
Yeah, okay, that's one issue I am gonna get to, essentially. But no, like, for Zogg, at least, it is nice that they give him a sympathetic backstory, but legit do have him commit to the villainous, insane route, essentially. And hey, now I guess he can be president in a civil war with an emperor over what looks to be even less than the remains
literally
of
end
Planet
with the
X
joke
after Daffy
of,
Duck blew it up.
Yeah, it's literally the Duck Dodgers joke, basically.
Beautiful, essentially. Speaking of which, his second in command is Vorn is also pretty good here. Like, he seems like your typical slimy, evil, dastardly sidekick, but through the flashbacks, we get to see that he legit meant well, and you get the feeling that a lot of the people in Zogg's employ were kind of just taken for the ride. Even Clink, while he did commit to the whole villainous bit with being the warden of the prison, seemed to be rather taken aback with how Zogg really did just become a bad guy, like a flip switched, essentially. Again, it does show that characters take on their responsibilities and actions, since Foreign seems to imply that he will indeed be serving his time to try and make up for what happened, essentially. So yeah, no, I'll give the comic credit. It does go to some lengths that we don't often see from the series. And that's not to say that the series itself is, bad or doesn't often go places. It's just that I can tell that I guess they had probably more liberties to focus more on story details comic-wise as opposed to the games, essentially. Like, the games would mostly focus on satire and, this or that. Now, there were stakes, mind you, essentially, but for the most part, they were always still layered with, like, a sense of humor. Here, it does feel like some of the most serious stuff we've seen since A Crack in Time, which, hey, to give credit to Crack in Time, that one did get pretty serious by the end with Asimov's death and Clank having to come to terms with the not quite deaf but might as well be dead status of his true father, essentially. So, again, perhaps this is the comic trying to follow up on that. Which does make it kind of weird knowing how All for One really does go back to a much lighter tone, but I digress. Maybe the program wasn't completely all on stance here, and, from what I've heard, All for One can get a little tricky, especially in regards to development, but that's neither here nor there. Now, again, one thing that does bother me a bit about the comic is, aside from the continuity snafus, yeah, having it be that Quark's agent supposedly wanted him to be president. Like, his agent who as far as we can tell,
Has
didn't
never
really get
appeared.
much
Okay,
benefit.
he was mentioned at the beginning of Cracking Time. Remember the guy that pushed him to do My Blaster Runs Hot, but it was never you know I don't think it was ever confirmed, and ever since he hasn't showed up again. So
Yeah.
it was literally created physically for that scene alone, just to divert the blame from Quark.
And it's like, again, guys, did you forget Ratchet and Clank 2, where Quark is literally the main bad guy of it? Again, had this come off of the heels of Ratchet and Clank 3, where that actually is about Quark proving himself as a true relatively benevolent hero, I could get needing the excuse to taunt him back into darkness, but by the time of Kraken Time, he was, need I remind you, kind of sinking back into that lifestyle. And you know what? Yes, I will count the PSP games. Like, dubious canon aside, essentially, that was more or less the direction they were going with in Cork. And even if I wasn't counting the PSP games, need I remind you the antics he was getting up to in Kraken Time and how he kind of only by chance ended up helping us by the end, and I get the feeling that wasn't completely out of the benevolence of his heart. And it's so weird because that agent never shows up again, so he's literally a plot device, essentially. Heck, I don't even get the feeling that the agent really benefits that much. Does he want power, control? Honestly, if anything, if the reveal was that the agent was secretly a supervillain or working for another villain who wanted to use Quark's incompetence over the government, I could see that, but no, I guess he just wants to try and get profits.
Now,
And again, never heard from again.
The good news, Java, is that the full throttle slash Q Force serves precisely to actually call out Quark on his past behavior, but the way they decide to do it is questionable. You'll have to see to for yourself.
But yeah, no, this comic as a whole is what I'd say a fun enough venture here. I feel like, you're getting essentially the equivalent of the length of a plot of Ratchet and Clank minus the gameplay in this. And I feel like it works out pretty well, gives some new layers to the characters and whatnot, and does its job in continuing the venture and getting you hyped for the next game, essentially. Now, the only thing I wonder for the future is if they will either A, make a game reimagining of this plot, or B, make a sequel that is to this plot in video game or comic format, essentially, or C, make such that involves Zogg teaming up with Tachyon, essentially.
Too much ego on both parts of Java, it's not gonna happen.
Hey, I guess on the plus side, we now know what became of Tachyon, so I
Mm-hmm.
guess that wraps up all those plots. But yeah, overall, it's a good comic, essentially. A shifty art style and some dodgy plot points aside, and again, how this would actually be regarded in the proper canon is a bit off and on here and there, but hey, I can't blame that entirely on the comic, and I do feel like the comic in and of itself is entertaining and enjoyable enough. Tio, your thoughts?
This is comic in terms of story, it's fine. I've seen far worse comic book tie-ins, including stuff that is relevant to the canon. Uh, I appreciate that the script is done so that it doesn't commit to the thing of, oh, this plot could only work for the comic book. It could, it was made specifically for the format. No, I could easily see this as a proper standalone game, just slightly expanded to justify the game stuff, that happens. Uh, it's the art of the problem to me. A lot of the time, way too many times, the in between frames, the close up to the faces themselves that get smooshed, and the proportion that get way too uncomfortable, just don't add up. I get the idea Adam was trying to recreate the weirdly polygonal faces from the PS2 era, but wasn't quite there yet, and the end result is just almost amateurial, I would have to say. I wouldn't call it, the same as other very bad artists like Rob Liefeld or Greg Land, but I will still say that this is not a good work in the end. I'm sorry. It's this needed, a different artist to work on it. They probably got this one because, I had a past work with Vertigo and DC as a result. So there is
This
that.
is why I do raise confusion, though, because again, going off of other work he's been part of, he can do better. Like that's why my best guess is he wasn't given the best reference material for
God,
the
I
main
forgot.
characters.
I don't have time to check, but I do wonder who was responsible for drawing Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew post revival after Final Crisis, because that wasn't too far from here. So I think it had happened around the same time, and that involves anthropomorphic characters. So I wonder. Anyway, as for everything else, it's pretty much what Jova said. The plot inconsistencies are a thing, but honestly, I can, live up with them. I enjoy the callback to other previous stuff, although I wish there was just a bit more. And for example, the final confirmation of the reason that Max went away was to save Angela. Again, we still haven't resolved that plot point, so, there better be a very good fucking reason why Max decided to protect Angela from Tachyon instead of, actually having herself find a way to hide, you know. And how exactly did we quantum leap into another dimension without a dimensionator? Again, we'll have to see eventually, hopefully, you know. Everything else, like I said, was Jova said. Zogg is an interesting villain that fits right there with the other pantheon of bad guys. Unfortunately, let's just say Into the Nexus is a way to cap off the events of the franchise up until that point, and Zog is not referenced among that, not in nor the comic, unfortunately. Like I said, this only gets a small reference at the beginning of All for One, which we'll see after this. But that's pretty much it, unfortunately. But hey, what can you do about it? Anyway, that's pretty much it. So, tune in eventually for when we jump back properly into the games with the co-op adventure Ratchet and Clank All for One. See ya.
See you then.